Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the last video, I was talking about how it is extremely difficult to turn that coin slider from the center post as I had originally planned with this center gear here. I don't think that the stepper motors that I'm using really have enough torque to do that. They're NEMA 17 and I think they're pretty small. I don't think they're going to have enough torque in order to turn this whole coin slider with the cogs and all from that center position. So what I've decided to do is try to figure out a way to turn this coin slider from the outside edge so that we get a little bit more torque. What I came up with was adding a GT2 gear. If I can create that, we can have a belt that runs around the outside of this, and we should get a lot of torque that way. So I just kind of printed this out as an example of what that gear ratio would look like. You can see that the teeth are pretty small on this. I believe there's 200 teeth on this. And that is the perfect amount of that particular gear tooth ratio to fit directly over one of these coin sliders. One thing I noticed though was that these coin grabbers that I have here, these white pieces, they don't quite make it all the way out to the edge here. So you can still see a pretty large piece of that coin grabber, this white piece here. You can still see that that's inside the circle here. I was thinking that one of the ways to secure this just a little bit better to the coin slider would be to push these out so that they're closer to the rim. So if you make these just a little bit longer, you can see that they will push out towards the edge of the coin slider a little bit. And you can actually use these posts. If we make these posts just a little bit longer, like I've done here, they'll not only come up through the coin slider, but they can actually recess into the bottom of this gear. So that actually will help it hold together a little bit better. So I began by recreating the coin slider with slightly longer coin grabbers. We're calling these coin grabbers at this point, just making up names as we go along. But as you can see, I pushed these out to the edge a little bit more so that they're closer to this lip here. And when I put these in position, I'll put two of these in position. These are very tight tolerances, so they really just snap together. And once you do that, they're flush. Like I said, it's a tight fit there. Once you do that, these are flush here, and they stick up pretty significantly from the top here. And when I created this, I created it in a way that there are little recesses. I'm very proud of the way that this came out because I created a little recess here for this coin slider to slide up and down in. I made sure that there was no interference between this gear and the compliant mechanism that we talked about in the last episode. And also these posts will fit into these holes here on the ring. So this actually helps hold the whole thing together. And if we flip that over, we can now snap that into position there. And we have a pretty solid piece now. That all locks into position. That all fits together like that. And you still have compliance here. But at the same time, you also have this really rather large gear around the outside that you can get a lot more torque when you're trying to rotate this with a small stepper motor like I am. I'm pretty proud of the way this part came out. I like the way the design worked out, but I think I can still make some improvements. The main idea here is to improve the pulley design so that it holds on to a belt a little bit better. And in the next iteration, you can see that I did that. I put a little follower here so that the belt pulley can actually stay securely in that groove. This is pretty much exactly like the other one, except I've added those two little features there. The only thing I did differently in this one was printed with 100% infill, which means that this is a completely solid part. And this part is just a lot lighter because I only used 15% infill, but the rest of it is basically the same. The problem with this particular piece, though, is that when we add that to the coin slider, there's not much room between the actual edge of the coin and the edge of that ring there. So I would like to take that edge down a little bit. I was nervous that in the camera studio position that this actually might cast a shadow onto the penny, which would not be ideal. So we're going to chamfer that edge a little bit. And then in this version, you can see that this lip has been chamfered down so that we make a much closer connection here. We save a lot of plastic around the edge here. And I don't think this any longer will cast any shadows on the coin as it goes through the camera studio position. So that's actually a much better design. I'm happy where this is going. And you can see now that we can now drive this part with a belt that runs around the outside of this. In the next video, we're going to add a stepper motor to the whole design, and we're going to be able to drive that from the outside with a belt. So stay tuned for that, and I look forward to sharing that with you. Thanks, everyone.